And we're live! Welcome, wonderful viewers, to another radical episode of the Somnium Show with your favorite host, Ultra Lord! Woo! Today we'll be diving into a really interesting topic, the shadow self, and how it relates to the human condition, baby. Wolfer Blast, we're waiting on you. Wish you were here. Come and join us.
They're coming. They're almost here.
The Museum of Folklore and Mystery, baby. Mystery. It's a mystery. How could I be? It's a mystery. Alright. The Somnium Show. Wait, we're just gonna wait a little bit for Oli and Woofer Blast. While we wait, enjoy this puppet show. I'ma look at the butterfly fly. Hey, Oli, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, everyone, give it up for Oli. She's here, the one and only Oli. Woo. Did you get a chance to spot
me everywhere I go.
Woofer Blast?
Yes, I have escorted him here.
Ah, thank you.
We got lost.
Hey,
Hey,
it's
Woofer.
Woofer Blast. How you doing, bro?
Hey,
Hey Ollie.
hey, where's my shadow?
I can't see who.
Hey,
is
who's my
who.
shadow? Okay, we're
Where
gonna
you guys
begin the
Hey.
show. All right, guys. Today's topic of discussion of philosophicalization is the shadow self,
Hey.
as described by Carl Jung. Nikki, start it off for us. What's the shadow self, and how does it relate to you? And what is it? Why is it important?
Well, I see these shadows.
Well, like to be a little
see
vulnerable
shadows.
here. Okay.
Works good.
I've been working a lot lately with the shadow self, for the last year, and it's very hard. It's very challenging. But basically, how I see it is that you do everything to escape that emotion that triggers you to do something, or triggers you to do the triggers that it can be anything. Something happens and it just triggers you. You become aggressive, you become sad, you become depressed. So you do everything to avoid those triggers, by drinking or eating, avoiding it at any cost. Watch Netflix, watch movies, suppress it as much as you can. And what I've learned, the more that you suppress it, the more that you fall into a spiral of depression and anxiety, and the pain becomes worse. So if you just, grab it by its balls, just not face it, but embrace it, embrace
So
that
just, like,
part of you
fondle
that
them.
you suppressed. Well, I wouldn't say fondle them, but just like those childhood memories that you had that you weren't able to express yourself the way that you wish you would have been able to express yourself now. Embrace that and just see it as a strength and not a weakness. So that's how I would say how I see the shadow self. You're not just suppressing your emotions to hide something from others, but you're also suppressing it from yourself, hiding it from yourself. And I think that if you hide it from yourself, that's the most dangerous. So just embrace it.
So it's like elements of
That's how I see it.
ourselves that we've pushed into our subconscious, where we're not aware of it. We don't want to be aware of it.
Yeah, we've just casted it out.
But it still has an
We've
effect on
casted
us.
out the
Because it's part of our subconscious, right? Still exerting.
yeah.
And would you say that not facing your shadow self creates a cognitive dissonance? How do you face? How do you do shadow work?
So I would suggest that you have a therapist with you that helps you work through it, or you can do it on your own. So I started with a workbook, shadow workbook, but that's only shortly that I've tried it. I've actually realized what shadow work is just a month ago, but I've been doing it for a whole year, with battling with my emotions and going really deep and figuring out why I do certain things that aren't bad for me. Um, uh, just when for the smallest example, when you're driving and somebody cuts you off, you get completely aggressive. It triggers you. Something triggers you. But why does it trigger you? So you just try to go deeper to the why that you feel a certain way. What was it that made you be so aggressive when somebody does that to you? Because you've been cut off maybe a few times in real life, like when you try to speak, when you try to say something, when you try to talk, your the voice didn't matter. So that's maybe something. Just, I know it's pretty deep, but like I said, I wanted to be a little vulnerable because this topic is very, very deep for me, and I'm really happy that you guys are, yeah, addressing this topic because I'm sure a lot of people haven't heard of it, and yeah, I hope it helps others.
Amazing. Give it up for Nikki. Thank you so much for
I'd like
sharing
to-
with us.
I'd like to hear more
Incredible
about
description. Okay, Oli, tell us, what do you know of the shadow self?
The shadow self. I would say everything Nikki said,
Gotta turn
100%.
her up.
And also that the shadow is sometimes created, like the part that we suppress, by our culture. So it really is delicate work, because there's behaviors that we don't want, to emulate. But like Nikki said, if you're not addressing these behaviors, if you're not working with them, you're actually shortchanging yourself and giving it a life of its own, if you will, to sabotage you.
Yeah, it's
So,
destructive if you don't
while
integrate it.
Yeah, you have to integrate it. And while it's good to suppress some behaviors, it's even better to integrate, because some of that shadow work, or some of that shadow of the seemingly negative behaviors that don't fit in with society also holds so much power and energy that you could put towards your creative process and towards your goals. So the shadow is actually a very good thing. Um, Carl Jung, like, he worked with a lot of people. There was this woman, I think she was afraid of birds or something very strange, and then they slowly started exposing her to more bird images and different, scenarios where she had to be around birds. And then along with this, paired with this, was also a fear of, I forgot exactly, but let's say it was communication. So because she faced her fear of the birds, she was able to connect with people better after that and communicate better. So yeah, it's a good,
Hmm,
it's a very good thing to be
that's
conscious of.
fascinating. It makes me think of how, like, a shadow is a projection, right? It's the result of their not of like us blocking the light. So, like,
Hmm.
and then the thing that's blocking the light, creating the shadow, is your persona, which is that mask you wear, your conscious self that you're aware of. And the shadow is behind you all the time. So you can never really be sure what the shadow is doing because you can't look behind you all the time because you just can't. Because you have to look straight to be able to like walk and do stuff. So it's fascinating. Yeah, really, really interesting.
Look to your side.
Look to my
Look to your
side.
side.
No, I don't want to look to my side. Is
See?
there something scary?
There's your shadow.
No, oh,
Right
oh,
there.
no. I also think
It's
of
you. It's all
you
one.
guys watched Peter Pan, how at the beginning
Mm-hmm.
he's basically chasing his shadow, and his shadow like gets free and starts running amok, like doing all this like Looney Tune stuff.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
yeah. I'm sure
I
there's
love
like
that.
some deep symbology behind that. I mean, and he has to like literally stitch his shadow back to his feet to make sure it doesn't get away. Yeah. Thank you, Oli. That's incredible. Really, really amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your
Of
thoughts
course.
on the shadow and the self and the importance of it. Can you tell us more about like what experience you have with shadow work and integrating it with the self?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm left-handed, and that
Me
creates some
too. Me
challenges.
too.
Just as you
Me
guys
too.
know, like it just kind of your brain just automatically sees things and communicates very differently from a right-handed person. So I started learning just at a young age about the left hand path and just why it's so suppressed in culture, why kids were encouraged to be right handed. Um, so, yeah, in a
Seriously?
way,
Are you for real?
yeah, kids, my
Yeah.
grandfathers on both sides were left handed, and both of them were beat in school for using their left hands
Me
and
too.
had
I
to
was beat
use their
in
right
school.
hand, and they developed stutters.
Me
And
too.
I even have part of a stutter.
Oh
Yeah, I
my
have a
And I
god.
stutter
think that
too.
that's from being punished for not using my left hand, but for thinking so much with my right brain. So I always was very kind of like uh, self-observant, like, oh, why am I wrong? Like, why don't I see things properly, or why don't I communicate properly like everyone else? Why can't I keep up? And that really helped me delve into shadow work at a young age, and I channeled it into my music. Um, and it created kind of a monster of music instead of a monster within me, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like that's a
Hmm.
that music is a huge part of me integrating my shadow for sure.
Incredible. Yeah, give it up for Oli, everyone. Thank you so much for sharing, Oli.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, that
That's
was
great.
cool.
Ultralord,
What's
Ultralord,
up?
can I say
Yeah.
one thing?
Sure, bro.
I need to take my dog out, so I'll be back in 5 minutes. But I just want to let you know in
So
case
so
you
so
call
wait
on
wait.
me.
Do you wanna before you go? Do you want to share with us anything, or would you rather wait
No, no, no,
after?
that's okay. That's
All right,
okay.
cool.
He's
Don't.
he's sitting here
Yeah.
begging to go out, so I'll be
Take
right
care.
back.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Cool.
Our
All
Awesome.
right,
dog is
thanks.
very
Have a great time,
bossy.
buddy.
Oh my, he actually just nodded his head. Yep, wait. Yep, he said tell Ultralord thank you.
For sure, bro.
All right, be right back.
Okay, Denevro. Tell us, Denevro. What is the shadow self, and how does it relate to you?
Dark.
Dark. It's a good app. Yeah,
Yes.
it's dark, cause you can't see it.
And you know, when you look in the direction, it means that your back burn
What?
What?
because of the sun.
What?
Cause of the sun.
Oh
The
my
direction
god.
of your shadow, the back burn.
Oh, so
I
you're
know it
saying your
attract-
shadow protects you from the sun? Wow, I never thought about it like that. I never thought about
You
it like
protect your
that.
shadow.
I think that's why we have to have a
If it
shadow.
wasn't for the sun, you wouldn't have a shadow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Huh. Fascinating. Fascinating. Tell me more, Denevro.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You know,
That
with
the
this
shadow
and that, and then
Protects
yes,
you
then
from
you do
being
that, you do
burned?
this, and woo.
What do you
Shadow.
mean though? Like it sounds like all like metaphorical. What do you
Did
mean
you
though,
look at
exactly?
the series The Silo?
Silo. Like
Yeah, it's a nice
Silo.
series on Apple TV.
Silo? Oh, I don't watch Apple TV.
Silo.
Oh, just saw that recently.
I-
I didn't
I-
watch it, but I saw.
Is it good?
Oh, not. Yeah, it's fun. It's like in the future, human reserve is living underground in a silo, and they never went outside in hundreds of years. they don't have electronics. They don't have anything anymore because everything will have broken. You know.
So why do they live underground?
We don't know yet. Probably like
Ah.
a natural disaster or like
But
radiation.
why don't they have
something like that.
electronics?
I don't know. They only have cathodic monitors.
Oh.
I mean, it makes sense. Think about it. If you live in too small space, you will never have the capacity to produce electronic or to maintain or to repair. You see what I mean? The same for any technology we have: phone, computer, processor, screens. All that needs gigantic factories just to make one. So yeah,
Fascinating.
the idea to go to Mars is less and less realistic.
Yeah. I watched
Because
Ghosts of Mars.
it's like the
Have you guys
pyramid.
seen Ghosts of
It's
Mars?
like the pyramid of technology, you know?
Yeah. Every time I think of Mars,
The
I think of that.
dependency.
There's like ghosts on Mars. Probably if people go to Mars, they'll get possessed by the ghosts that live on Mars. You guys see it?
Oh my
mean,
gosh.
You guys never seen
No.
that? It's really good. It's a really good movie.
What's it called?
Ghosts of Mars, I think. I think that's what it was.
Why
What
there's
was-
always ghosts in the space when there's a lot of movies?
Yeah, what's up with ghosts in space? it's
Like-
it's because it's dead.
I don't know, because there's nothing, so we're not putting anything random.
Yeah, let's just put a ghost. I mean,
Like
that makes
ghost.
sense.
Like there is this movie, they are launching a bomb to the sun, and what the fuck they put ghost?
Oh yeah, it has Ice Cube in it too, eh? So if you want to see a movie with Ice Cube, yeah.
I
really.
Come on, Ice Cube's the best.
What do you mean Ice Cube?
Are we there yet? You guys see it? All right, cool. That's a fascinating way of looking at the shadow and how it relates to us. I guess it protects our personas from the blinding light of our like super egos. You know that like yeah. Cause like yeah, thank you, Denevro. Yeah, give it up for Denevro, everyone. Woo, yeah. Fascinating discussions. And Pax, are you there? Okay, he's still out with buddy.
Hello.
Oh,
this
he's
is
back.
Pax's automated answering service.
Oh, we got his answering machine.
Pax
God damn it.
will be back in 15 minutes. No, hey, I'm back. What
Hello,
can I,
Pax?
What can I help? What can I
That was
answer?
a quick 15 minutes.
Yeah,
Yes.
man.
In my dimension, 15 minutes is 1 second. Live fast.
Time machine.
So tell us, what is your
Oh my God.
dimension do with the shadow self, and what do you guys how do you relate to it? The shadow self, and how does it relate
I'm not
to
very
you?
sure what the shadow self is, and I missed a little bit about it.
So
but I did
the
Google
gist of it, if I could like
Yeah.
summarize what the idea is, kind of, I would say that you have elements of your conscious mind of, well, if you look at the subconscious and the conscious is just a piece of the subconscious that we can be aware of at any single time. There's a lot of background stuff going on in there. So I think we take, like, for example, elements of ourselves and we put it in our subconscious mind. But little do we know that the things of the subconscious, because they're a part of the conscious mind, they do have an effect on the conscious mind. And the more we try and the more we make things a big deal, the bigger the deal becomes, right? So the more, so I think that's another way to look at it, is that it's a projection of like the shadow, your shadow behind you. It's a projection of yourself, and yourself is your persona, which is the mask you wear, your conscious mind. So that's like a little
This gives you a
summary
little bit of an idea.
of what the
Yeah, I
shadow
think it's a
self
part
is.
of your personality that society and you yourself suppress, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
Or the
Like you're
parts of you that
aggressive.
you're unconscious of as well, right?
So do you try to improve your shadow self, or it doesn't really work that way?
No, you can't. You can't
So what do you do
improve
with your
it,
shadow
but you can.
self?
You can make friends with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You kind of
Embrace
like
it.
embrace it.
Embrace it.
And then you accept it, and then instead of allowing, and then what I find is like you have to strip it to its like bare minimum, like what, like you have to take each element of it and strip it to the bare emotion, the bare illogical,
Exactly.
yeah, and then when you get to that,
The root cause. The
yeah.
root cause.
it's like it doesn't, it's just an emotion, and then you just like take that and then you channel it into something. Okay, so for example, like let's take me I really love sex, right? So I just, you have to take sex, right? And you have to like take it and kind of like use it in a constructive way, right? Do you understand what I'm saying here? Or I have aggressive tendencies at times, and instead of just trying to suppress them, I would take those aggressive tendencies and go to the gym, for example. So I would take the aggressiveness, the anger, do a sport where you distill it. And then you find the actual, a lot of times it's something, some sort of trauma that has like twisted it in a way. So yeah, there's a lot of interpretations of the shadow self. I think it's just like the word itself is like a Carl Jungian archetype to describe a kind of psychological phenomenon. Yeah, so what do you think? Now it's your turn. Go ahead, tell us, Pac.
Wait, that's interesting. Uh-oh. Hold on, there's someone at our front door now.
Buddy's like, yo, bro, I got the pizza.
So do you want to? So you can't tame it, but you try to accept it, and you try to make friends with your shadow.
Yeah, and you kind of have to watch its back, and then it'll watch your back, and then it
It's your
starts to
sidekick.
help you in a way.
It's the yin and yang.
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. I actually have never heard this before, so I'm just trying to digest it.
If
So
you're into
Vivian,
it, check
I
out
actually
shadow work.
asked, I asked ChatGPT. I go, tell me about shadow self, and it says a concept of shadow self originates from analytical psychology, particularly the work of Carl Jung. Is that?
Yeah, it's Carl Jung.
Does that make
He kind of like gave it a name. He gave it, yeah, the shadow self. And like Freud described it too. Freud called it the id, the, I don't know what the, right? Id, ego, super ego. But what's the id? Instincts and desires, I think. Oli, do you know?
What,
The id?
Yeah, the super ego is kind of like what is good in society, like the angel on your shoulder, and the id is like the demon on your shoulder, or the devil on
So
your
the-
shoulder. And then we're the ego, our persona, our personality.
Our mask. And our mask
the
protects
tiger-
us from the blinding judgment of our superego. So I think that's kind of like where the shadow comes into play, right? Have you guys ever watched Bleach? The anime Bleach?
no.
Oh, there's a good anime.
Oh, Bleach?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Greeks also had kind of like a metaphor of how they described the human being, of what like a man was. They said a man is a man sitting on a horse, he's riding a horse, and there's an eagle flying. So like you can think of the eagle as the super ego, the man as the ego, and the horse as the id, right? So if you just let the horse run free, the horse is just gonna run around, and like you have to like tame the horse. You have to like ride the horse and giddy up, go, let's go, yeehaw, woohoo. Yeah.
Giddy up.
What are your thoughts, Pax?
I find it very interesting.
Any
think that we all-
observations from your own life that you can think of that you can attribute to the shadow self?
Let me think about it and then come back to me.
Sure, give it up for Pax, everyone.
I'll have a better answer.
Woo! Yeah, thank
Yeah,
you,
we'll come around.
Pax.
To
Amazing,
everybody
amazing.
twice.
Okay, Ardub, tell us, my friend, tell us the shadow self, the self. human beings, personas. What are your thoughts on the shadow self?
Well, I really liked hearing what everyone had to say so far, so thanks. I'm really interested in learning as much about myself as I can, and I haven't really done shadow work per se, but I've done a lot of therapy, and my therapist told me once, and this has really stuck with me, if you look at yourself, there's things you know about yourself, or think of it as like 4 grids, right? One quadrant is things you know about yourself that other people know about you. And there's things you know about yourself that other people don't know about you. And it sounds like the shadow kind of falls in that realm.
Yeah.
And then this is a really interesting one. Things you don't know about yourself that other people know about you. And that's a big one.
Yeah.
Like, it could be a subtle little thing, like just an expression you make or the way you move, but it could be more powerful things too. Just like maybe you don't realize like how negative you are. You don't see yourself as a negative person, but other people pick up on that a lot. Or the other way around, you could think of yourself as like not a happy person, but everyone perceives you as happy. You know what I mean? Like that's a really interesting one. And that's why I like talking to other people, or if someone tells me something about myself, I'm not. I don't think always like right away defensive about it. It's kind of like, oh, interesting. That could be true, you know? So I don't know if the shadow self probably falls in that part too. There might be things people know about you that could help you learn more about your shadow by talking to other people or getting feedback. And it seems like the shadow would be, from what I've heard, so you've got your ego, like the definition of yourself. And certain things about you that don't fall in line with your ego would get pushed off into the shadow, right? But they're there. And it could be, like for me, I think it would be growing up in a family where emotions weren't embraced. Like we were kind of like a very unemotional family, but as a very emotional child, I'm a very emotional person. So I think like that part of me in my shadow, but as I've grown up in my life and learned about myself, that is a very valuable thing. It's not like it's a bad thing I put in my shadow. It's a super helpful thing. So, oh, and you mentioned cognitive dissonance before too. I think that would be, cognitive dissonance when you have like 2 conflicting ideas in your mind and it causes
Glitches.
discomfort or just like emotional, discomfort. But I think if you have that, if you know what cognitive dissonance is, and when you're feeling that, it's probably a sign that there's something like you could learn about your shadow right there.
Yeah.
And like when I was a boy, if I felt emotional, my friends say, "Don't cry, don't be scared, don't whatever," and that then was like, "What's wrong with me, man?" I thought there was something wrong with me for feeling those feelings, and that was it.
That
was
is
like
fascinating. I
dissonance.
like how you said that, you are the one who puts those elements into the shadow self. It's better to take them out of the shadow self, unwrap them, and burn them. Yeah!
And
For the
if you were like
gods.
an enlightened person, like some super advanced, you probably wouldn't have a shadow, right? 'Cause
I
it would
think you'd
be,
still have a
like, your
shadow.
ego would be so loosely
Yeah, I think you
defined
do
that it would
too.
like everything. Really?
Yeah,
Man,
I mean,
I don't-
like...
I don't know any enlightened people.
Bro,
but-
because at the end of the day, man, like for example, I noticed this on myself right now, where I was like, I have aggressive tendencies, and then I said sometimes, right? I didn't want to accept. You see, I don't want to accept that. I'm aggressive, right? Because deep down inside, evolutionarily, we have been wired to want to help each other, but we still need these things, right? So I think like no matter what, like you have a shadow, because there are elements of yourself that are pretty disgusting and like wait a minute, I'm thinking here, because you put those elements in your shadow, right? So what if you don't
I'm
have a
not Carl
shadow?
Jung, but yeah, I would argue there probably are some people that don't have a shadow.
Fascinating. Now, then
think,
again,
yes, or
the
no?
Denevro
Likely?
said that if you
Unlikely.
don't have a shadow, then you would get burned by the sun. You would get burned by your superego. You'd be crippled. You wouldn't be able to operate in society. Yeah, bro, you'd be like a tree. You'd be like a literal tree, bro. Like you wouldn't be able to operate at all. I mean, the things you have to
Maybe
do
it just would get,
in the
it would
world.
just get
Yeah.
tough.
Yeah, maybe. Oh yeah, maybe
Get
you'll
sunburned so many times,
you just
would
get
like
a
a thick skin.
yeah, a nice good tan. Sounds great. Interesting, man. Very, very fascinating look at things. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
sharing. Everyone give it
Wizard.
up for R-Dub. Woo! Yeah, thank you so much, R-Dub. Now,
Thank
Sea
you. That
Searcher,
was very inspiring.
the searcher of the oceans, the man himself. Tell us. Investigate
Yeah,
for
I
us.
was I was not a, I
What's-
was not aware of the concept of shadow self and shadow work. I was not aware of it.
What do you think of it?
Well, I've been listening and thinking, and maybe it is. Adap was just discussing putting things in the shadow and maybe taking it out. So I believe everybody, if I understand the concept right, everybody has a shadow. or
Yeah,
a
I actually
shadow
think you
self.
have to have a shadow.
But
I don't think. I think, for example, there are people who are born aggressive, people who are born with a higher libido, right? And they're gonna have like,
Yeah, but
you know, people are gonna be more.
yeah, but it's not necessarily bad to have a high libido. I think. It's,
I know, but
but it's maybe you have the shadow, but something might be in there or not. It's you choose yourself to place things in that shadow or to consider it shadow or not. So when is something shadow and when not?
hmm.
Because you have to accept for yourself that some things are put in the shadow, or like I have some things I don't like about myself, but I try to shine a light on it, and maybe is that work in
And
the
that's my
shadow,
friend
or
does shadow work.
is that shadow work?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Or I take the little light and shine it on it and think, oh, okay, what can I do about it, or do I want to do something about it? Because some things I don't care about, I accept them, and some things I work on actively to improve and to be aware of. And if that's shadow work, then yeah,
Hmm.
that's what I try to
So
do.
so do you think if you accept everything about yourself, that you won't have a shadow anymore?
No, you will have the shadow, but there's nothing in the shadow, everything is in the light.
Ah. Huh.
Maybe, I
It's
don't
beautiful.
It's
That's a
my
beautiful analogy.
interpretation of what has been discussed so far. That's
Oh, so yo,
yeah.
we're
and
like
something
abusing
maybe
the
might
shadow
move out and in the shadow.
in a sense, you know. We're putting all like the worst things that we don't want, and we're giving it to the shadow, and the shadow's like, yo, bro, like what is this?
Yeah, maybe, but it can also, I think it can also change over time in your life. When you're young, you're uncertain about a lot of things. You're very, very affected by meanings of other people's and comments of other people. If you grow older and you've seen it a lot more, then I, well, I notice for myself, you start caring less about it, start accepting how you are, and live with it. And maybe that comes with age or simple experience. And I can imagine if you do that actively, like work on it, do the shadow work, that you get to that point faster than if you don't do that.
Fascinating, fascinating. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Shine a light on your shadow, baby. Woo, yeah, give it up for Sea Searcher. Woo, 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 woo. Thank you so much for sharing. And the man himself, Wilfred Blast. Tell us, man,
Oh,
what do you
hello.
think of the shadow self?
Well, I don't like to overcomplicate things, so I think about it probably differently a little bit. I think we have two sides, a primal side and a rational side. And the primal side is what everybody's calling the shadow self. But I think the primal side of us, it just wants to do whatever it wants with no boundaries. You know, no morals, no boundaries. no concept of rules or laws or ethics or compassion or anything like that. It has no
Perfect
filters.
organism.
But it's not bad. It's like a little child that wants to play in the freeway. You know, you have to say, no, that's not good. You get hurt. You know, so the primal side is just
Oh,
It's
so
just
that's
pure
why Peter Pan was
will.
chasing
It
around
just-
Shadow.
yeah. And then we have the rational side with the filters.
And then Shadow
So we
ran
know
to the
that
girl's room.
If we do this or that, it could hurt somebody or it could hurt yourself or whatever. And you know, everything you do has consequences. All your actions and thoughts have consequences. So we have the primal side and the rational side. And it's not that the primal side is bad. It's just that it's our untamed side. It's the side that just does whatever it wants. So it's a constant balancing act. And I think you need one to have the other. You can't destroy your primal side or try to suppress it or fight it or anything, because you need that too. If you're too primal, you end up being like a serial killer or a politician or something like that, you know. If you're too rational, too much on the rational side, you end up being a snowflake, a person who can't take anything and can't deal with problems or emotions or anything like that. You get too far on the other side, that's bad too. So it's a balancing act between the two sides. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah. The yin and the yang. Awesome.
Yeah, you have to have one to have the other, and it's like the yin and
Two
yang,
sides
and
of the same coin.
the hermetic
The
principles.
self. As above, so below. Yeah, whoa. There, now I understand it. Woo, yeah, give it up for Wolf Blast. Yeah.
woo.
Thank you.
Woo. Guys, that was a great show. I hope you wonderful viewers enjoyed this wonderful show as much as we did. We're going to finish it off with our friend Pax here. Tell us, Pax, what are your thoughts about the shadow and the self and like humanity?
That's
Prax
deep.
is a very, very secretive person.
And thank you, wonderful viewers, for
Okay.
tuning in to the Somnium Show. Hope we see you next week and have a wonderful night. Oh, wait. Yo, guys, we need to take a group photo over here with Pax. Yo, jump in, let your shadows shine. Let your shadows shine. It's that time. Take your clothes off. Doo doo doo.
What?
All right, 1, 2, 3. Hip hip to shadows. Yeah. Thank you, wonderful viewers, for tuning in to Somnium Space
yeah.
Live, the Somnium Show, with your host, Ultra Lord Wolf of Blast, and the wonderful, awesome pioneers of the universe. Have a wonderful night, and we love you, baby. Woo.